everybody, welcome to the channel for game number 4 of French Interregio. I was facing another Highborn Elves, which is usually good pairing for Infernal Dwarves, or at least the type of list that I play, so we will see how that goes. You have here my list, as always, the purple scoring unit and the green chaff unit. And this was my opponent's list, so a lot of scoring unit, as you can see, 7 scoring unit. And I think the special thing about this list, the main strengths, combat strengths, are those 3 combat units. So we have 25 Swordmaster, 24 Lion Guard, and 20 Flame Warden. And the rest is basically scoring, shooting in core, shooting, a chaff piece, and then we have a Magic General and a BSB, and that's it. So very straightforward list. I would say usual type of Highborn in the sense of the shooting, but then he elected, rather than playing very mobile single model, he elected to play a strong infantry unit. Okay, primary objective was spoil of war, so we needed to kill an enemy unit with our scoring unit. So as you can see, he has better scoring unit than mine, I would say, with the 3 combat unit. Then second objective, I had unleashed a big gun, so I needed to pick a piece of terrain and have a shooting unit at the end of the game. So I won the roll for side and picked the wall, and basically it was quite easy for me to win. Spell selection is here. We play bottlenecks, so I had the big center. I elected to take big center here, and he had a smaller deployment zone, like I think 9-inch, but all the as wide as possible on the map if he wants to. He needed to kill my most expensive unit, which is not that easy. And then you have his spell selection. I think here a big surprise for me was the fact that he didn't pick both damage spell to try to target the tank. I think it's a very good target for alchemy, and I was very surprised that he didn't pick it. I think it would have been a good choice. I think I expect a standoff type of match, and I think here the blast could have at least force the tank to play on a different part of the map than the middle of the map. Matchup analysis quickly. So 3 light block. I think here the difficulty for me is, for those type of unit, I need to push with the shooting, shoot one time, and then I'm able to engage. The problem is if I'm pushing, shooting, and the other 2 units are threatening me, I cannot do that, because then a full unit will be engaging me in combat, and that would be too risky. So I think if the block cover themselves and plays quite compact, that could be hard for me to really approach him. But I think the opposite is also true. It could be hard for him to really push forward without really the ability to chaff my scoring unit, which are my shooting unit. His shooting could potentially focus the tank and bastion and kill them. We saw that on the previous game against Highborn Elf, where I lost the tank in a single shooting phase. Primary objective, need to engage with scoring, which is not easy for my list, to be honest, but I have those Stroke Anointed that could potentially offer something in terms of combat threat. Blunderbuss, Pyro, and Tank, I think, are my good tools in the matchup, could provide some good shooting, and I felt overall slightly positive. I think the secondary is mine from the start, more or less. Primary, we'll need to battle for it, and then in the range damage phase, in the standoff, I should be slightly better, so I should be able to win it slightly. Deployment wise, so I won the roll for side. I picked the wall for the secondary, like I said. We went back and forth, so since he had to start to deploy, he put a unit, I put one, we exchanged really back and forth, and at some point he dropped to get the first turn on a +1 only. But I was able to roll higher than him and win the first turn. So that was good news for me. So not only I was able to counter deploy the last piece, the last unit in my list, but I was also able to start. So what I made, I saw pretty quickly that he went with a strong left. So we have the mobile unit here, the chaff, and the 2 slope in the middle. We have here Swordmaster and Lion Guard, quite also here in the middle with the forest. And on the far left, we have the Flame Warden that are closing the flank and trying to push here. And the rest in the middle is basically all his shooting unit. I made sure that he has almost no shooting in case he would start. So I minimized his turn 1 shooting. And I put all my Incarnate, which are quite sensitive to his shooting, on the far right to be able to play with the cover and be out of range of most of his shooting. So basically, he could shoot at that, which are 2 model with 8 wounds, 3 up, armor save, which should be quite resilient against his shooting. So I was quite happy with that deployment, whether I could start or not. But I was able to start, like I said. So on my turn 1, I push hard. I try to trap those units here. We have 3 mobile units. I want to avoid him pushing here. So I place here my anointed to cover here. Those incarnate I just on the hill to see him, and those guys push max. So basically I'm trying to block him and trap him and force here battle line that is blocked around, and I think it could be hard for him to push through because we have the lake here that I think he has metal armor, so could cause DT, but at least he would lose the rank if he charged me. So I think that's a good zone for me to be in. I'm a bit more cautious with those guys because I think that was the unit he needed to kill for his secondary, so I want to protect them slightly, and I went here with the mage to get range for pyromancy. And those guys are kept in the back because I cannot chaff in this game due to spoil of war, and they are just going to go on the wall towards the end of the game to score the secondary objective, and that's it. Magic Face, get Fireball. I did 1 wound on the Sky Slope. He's turn 1. He moves the eagle slightly to the side, the rest move rather to the back, and those guys start their long march towards me. So they move towards here. His shooting didn't move that much, try to get some shot. Magic Face, he got Hereditary on a miscast, but kills some archer, so I was okay with that. And then the Sky Slope managed to do 3 wounds on those Kadim Incarnate, so he killed 1 model. My turn number 2, you can see the push, so I'm allowing the eagle to move over here if they want to, because the fast cav is having a look here. And then I'm creating here strong right flank to try to engage at some point. I have 3 units against 1, so try to engage this guy here. In the meantime, I want to do more pyro on the Sky Slope that lost a wound. And my shooting is, like I said, I put all 3 units here in front of the lake just to make a big stop, so it's going to be very hard for him to really push me. A Magic Face, I get Fireball, I finish the Sky Slope, so that's really nice. And then I got the big Pyro Flow, but I'm going to miscast, and it's going to be cast in the next phase. So I was able to get it through his dice. He had more dice than me, so that was lucky, but I got at least the miscast, so he will have another chance to dispel it on his turn, and I still have no shooting, too far away. His turn 2, he activates Chaff here, which allows him to push a bit forward with the Swordmaster. Okay, we will see. The rest, those guys continue their push forward. The Line Guard push also a bit forward, so he's also trying to form a connection between his unit. The problem is also the line of sight. These guys are really looking that way, while these guys are more looking here. So there are some sweet spot or spot where in case I charge, he wouldn't have counter charge, so that's also something to mention. Magic Face, he dispelled my Pyroclastic Flow from last turn, and he got +2 armor save on the Swordmaster. On my turn 3, I'm going to charge with Anointed in the flank. He's going to hold, which I think is not the correct choice, because the charge I had here, I'm not sure I would have taken double Incarnate and against Swordmaster. I don't have a Flaming Token. He has +2 armor save, and it's still mid-range charge, so if I get only 1 unit alone, he kills me and get a +1 on the primary. If I get a +1, basically he gets a Spoil of War token number 1. So I think I cannot afford to take the charge with both Incarnate right now. So I think if we would have fled, I would just have failed charge, but in that moment I get Anointed in close combat and get a chance to get my first Spoil of War, which is quite interesting. I start to push with the Bastion. I'm able to get within 12. Like I said, line of sight are an issue here. Here the distance is an issue. So basically I have the position that I want, which is my tank plus the Bastion can shoot at those guys. The Line Guard going to kill most likely for 5, and then if he wants to charge, like I said, most likely I will be here. I have plenty of counter charge. I will stand and shoot again. So I think it's way too risky for him to come. So feeling quite okay about the position here. Magic Face, I get the ward save on the Bastion. I get Fireball, do 1 wound on the Line Guard, and shooting I will be able to kill a total of 5 Line Guards, so that's quite good. 6 Line Guard kills, so he has I think 18 left right now, and close combat I kill the Eagle and I reform. His turn 3, interestingly, he moves to the side. He elected not to charge, because if he would have charged, the problem would have been that I could flee here. Obviously I lose the spoil, but then I flee here to safety, and then he would have made a wheel that way, which exposed him to the flank and a double charge of Incarnate. So I think right now that would have been too dangerous. I think the mistake was not to flee before, but right now it's hard to really take the charge here. Line Guards stay where they are. Those guys make a wheel to be out of the line of sight of the Bastion and push me slightly. And Magic Face, he gets Hereditary and +1 to hit on the Archer, and shooting is going to do some wounds. I think he tried to target always like the tank and the bastion, will do some wounds, but nothing too crazy. I was really careful about those guys due to the secondary to not expose them too much. I didn't take too many risks with them. My turn 4, yeah, I just moved back. Now I have primary, so I just moved back with those guys. Here, everybody, included the chariot, look at him. So in case he attempts a charge, I could triple charge him. So I think that's going to be very risky for him. I place those guys to get a flaming token because if I get that, then he can definitely not charge because reroll to wound and so on would be too dangerous. Here I'm just getting the tank. I think I already got a shot last turn. The idea was just to kill one to avoid the +1 to wound. And here I keep the chariot shooting here. I still don't want to expose those guys that, as you can see, he shot a bit at them, so they suffer some wounds. And I don't want to expose them to for the secondary objective. In the magic phase, I'm going to get a fireball, do 1 wound on the sky sloop. I kill, I think, another 5 line guard with the bastion. So I think now is going to be very, very hard for him to push. And that's about it. And here's turn 4, nothing crazy. He realized that he cannot really push me, actually. So he's going to try to do some range damage, get +2 armor save on the line guard. Miscast again, lose some archer in the back. And then on my turn 5, we realize that's going to be over quickly because I turn around, move 7. I just zone him, stay where I am, and he cannot really push me without taking too much risk. The line guards suffer too many wounds, so he cannot really push them. Those guys cannot take a double charge of Incarnate plus the chariot, so I cannot really push them. And those guys, without the +1 to wound, are not going to be able to kill the tank, so he cannot also really push them. So he's just going to save his point, I'm going to save mine, and we're going to stop like that. Which is a 15-5 because I got primary, secondary, and some points, so a very safe 15-5 for me. Post-game analysis quickly. Standoff game, just waiting for an opportunity. After I got the primary, I didn't take any unnecessary risk. I had a potential charge of Anointed plus Incarnate against his Swordmaster, but that was completely against the, I think, the way the game was going. You always need to keep in mind, for those of you maybe who struggle with that, always keep in mind who need to take the risk. And in that case, I was up on the points, up on the primary, up on the secondary, so 15 at least. So do I really need to take a risky charge, even if it's slightly in my favor? Do I really want to take a 60-40 or 70-30 with the risk of him breaking me and getting then the primary and winning slightly? So moving from a 15 to maybe a 9 or 8. So yeah, make no sense at all. So always try to keep in mind the macro level, how is the score looking like, how are you on the primary, secondary, and who needs to take the risk. And in that case, I really gave him the ball and told him, no, you need to take the risk, so we'll see what you do. In that case, I think he could have also tried to charge just to make me flee and get the primary back. Even if he loses the Swordmaster, they are worth less point than my Anointed, but I think he realized too far about the primary that he was going to lose it. He didn't realize it before, and it was just too late. When he realized it, it was just too late. Turn 3, yeah, he should have fled with the eagle, and turn 4, tempting charge, but like I said, too much at risk, and the primary was secured, so no sense for me to try that. And this time I was happy to see the tank able to absorb all the bow shot without any problem, which was not the case the last game. Round 4 result, we got a couple of solid win, 15-15, 17-14, but we lost 4 on the table and 8 on the other one, which is not enough for cap, but we still got a solid win with 73 against 47. That's it, guys, for this battle report. Thanks a lot for watching, and I will talk to you soon for the game number 5. Bye bye.